In episode 2, Robbie is awoken in the middle of the night by some random guy sneaking into his house. So he does what any normal person would do. He attacks the guy. But then his mom flips on the switch and can't believe that Robbie attacked him. But she hasn't been home in like 2 weeks. So he thought somebody was breaking in. She tells him that this is her new boyfriend and he's taking her to Cabo. And don't worry about the bills, he's going to take care of that. She'll be gone for about a week and a half tops. But Robbie has the whole place to himself. And she acts like this is a positive, but it's not exactly what Robbie wants. Before they leave, though, Robbie does tell the guy, if you hurt her, I'm going to hurt you. And the guy takes it as an empty threat. He's not really scared of Robbie. He then heads off to Miyagi-Do for training, where Sam has also arrived that day. And as she's walking in, she gets a phone call from who she thinks is Aisha, because the phone says Aisha, but in reality, it's Miguel using Aisha's phone because Sam wasn't getting back to him. And it was desperate times call for desperate measures situation, and he just wants to apologize and wants things to go back the way they were. But she gets pissed off with the fact that he used Aisha's phone. And when she walks in and sees Robbie, she says, I can't talk right now, I gotta go. Daniel walks in and starts going through the first lesson. He draws a circle in the sand and has them stand in it, and they're going to practice this defense choreography that's really nothing more than a dance. Although he swears that if they master it, they will be able to protect themselves. The problem is, in order to do it correctly, they have to be in sync, and it's hard to be in sync when you can't see your partner. They both are getting frustrated, and they also feel like this is just stupid. It's a waste of time. And while Daniel's trying to convince him that it's not, he gets a text message from Amanda saying there's a work emergency, head to the dealership ASAP. So he tells him to keep practicing and heads on over, and the work emergency is the fact that 2 of their sales associates were poached by Tom Cole, and they have to sell 10 cars in order to meet their quota by the end of the week. And Daniel's frustrated because he just opened up Miyagi-Do. He doesn't want to abandon the kids for a week while he tries to sell 10 cars. So he vows to sell them that day. And him and Amanda team up, and they go to work on these customers, schmoozing all of them and selling all 10 cars. And at the end of the day, Amanda and Daniel toast and celebrate the fact that they just made quota in a day. She tells Daniel, I forgot how good of a salesman you really were. And Daniel says, well, I wish I was that good of a sensei. Because Mr. Miyagi was such a good teacher and Daniel doesn't feel like he has those same tricks. But Amanda reminds him that Miyagi-Do has been open for 1 day. And if Mr. Miyagi had his tricks, then just come up with your own. You don't have to be Mr. Miyagi, you just have to be Daniel. And that's when, while he's looking in the service center, he sees a tire spinning around and he has an epiphany. Now, over with Cobra Kai, after he got off the phone with Sam, Daniel had to start getting ready for class that day, where Bert, Aisha, and Eli were all razzing the new kids. But right before class, Kreese walks in. And Johnny is a little surprised to see Kreese because he told him to come the next day, but Kreese is going to come on Kreese's time. So Johnny gets everybody in line and tells him this is Mr. Kreese. He'll be observing today. He then has Daniel break them down, and Daniel's doing a good job until the last thing he does is in a playful manner. And all the kids are laughing, and Johnny feels insecure, like he doesn't have order of the dojo in front of Kreese. Johnny kind of yells at Miguel for joking around, but Aisha takes it one step further, making a Cobra Kai joke that, in Johnny's opinion, makes him look really bad in front of Kreese. So he tells him that class is canceled for that day, and they need to show up tomorrow at 5 a.m. If they don't, they're off the team. And the next day when the kids show up, they're all mixing cement, having really no idea what Johnny has in store for them. But Johnny has ordered a cement truck, and when it arrives, he starts to tell them that they've gotten complacent. They won 1 tournament, and all of a sudden, they think they're the bee's knees, but they're not. And just like the cement in that truck, if the truck stops, the cement gets hardened. And right now, they are the cement. They need to make the truck move in order to keep the cement flowing. So he tells them all to get in the cement truck, actually get inside of it and make it spin. But the kids are really hesitant to do that. They start apologizing to Johnny, telling him that they learned their lesson, and then start complaining about the safety aspect of this whole thing when Kreese jumps in, saying, this man led you to the mountaintop, and now you're questioning him? I mean, look at you guys. I can't believe this pathetic group actually won the All-Valley tournament. I mean, that right there is a minor miracle. And who's responsible for that miracle? Johnny Lawrence, the best student in the history of Cobra Kai, my student. And that's when Eli says, whoa, you were Sensei? And Kreese says, damn right I was. And I've never trained a tougher student in my entire life. And if you know what's good for you, you listen to every single thing Johnny Lawrence has to say. And slowly, some of the kids start getting in the cement truck. And it takes a little bit, but they do end up moving it. And that's a slight minor miracle because Johnny had no idea if this was going to work. But afterwards, he's hosing the kids down and telling them that he's proud of them. And he knows that their parents would be proud of them if they knew what they did here today. But he tells the kids not to tell their parents. The final message he gives them is if they just keep pushing forward, they can go to new heights that they never even dreamed of. Now, the experimental training method that Daniel has come up with has to do with the floating wood in the pond. But Robbie's had a rough morning because the previous night, as he was looking for food in his house, the power went out because the bill wasn't paid. So he's in a mood when he arrives at Miyagi-Do, and when Sam asks him a simple question on the choreography, he kind of gives her a lot of attitude. They then walk out and see Daniel taking the bonsai off of the wood, and he tells them to get on it. Because on the ground, they can't sense what their partner's doing. But if they're bouncing in the water, it's going to help them sense what the other's doing. And at first, they fall in the water quite a bit. But eventually, they do end up getting it. After the training session, Robbie apologizes to Sam for how he acted in the morning, telling her, "I'm just going through a lot at home. My mom left with some guy. The power's out, but hey, I'll see you tomorrow." And then he leaves. But Sam ends up going to Daniel, telling him about Robbie's home situation. And when Daniel finds out about this, he goes and picks Robbie up and brings him back to the LaRussos. He's talking to Amanda about keeping Robbie there. And Amanda's fine with him staying a few days, but she tells Daniel if he's going to stay there longer than that, we have to talk to his parents. And Daniel's tried to get in touch with Robbie's mom, but Amanda says he does have a father. So Daniel heads over to talk to Johnny at the dojo, and Johnny is doing paperwork as Kreese tells him that what he did today took balls, putting his students in danger like that. It worked, and it takes guts. Johnny then thanks him for giving the kids a sort of kick in the ass to get into that cement truck. And then Kreese asks Johnny if he wants to go get a beer, and Johnny can run him through the next day's lessons. And Johnny says, "So you're coming tomorrow?" And Kreese says, "Well, if it's okay." And Johnny doesn't put up a fight against his former sensei. The two do go to that mini-mart and grab a beer while insulting the mini-mart attendant. But when they come out, there's Daniel LaRusso, shocked. Because he, just like Johnny, thought Kreese was dead. He asked Johnny, "Was this all a part of your little plan?" But Johnny says, "I don't know what you're talking about, man." And Daniel starts to walk away, saying, "You know what? I've seen plenty." But Kreese steps in, saying, "Well, if you want to see more, this guy right here is going to take Cobra Kai to new heights." And he puts his hand on Johnny's shoulder, but Johnny kind of shrugs it away, walking up to Daniel and asking, "What do you want?" But Daniel just says, "I got my answer, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, you're in for a rude awakening." Now, back at Johnny's house, Johnny wasn't there, so when Miguel went to drop off food that his mom made for Johnny, he had to use the spare key to let himself in. He puts the food in the refrigerator, but when he looks up, he sees a picture of a boy from 2010 playing soccer. And somehow, Miguel knows that this is Robbie Keane, even though the photo doesn't say Robbie Keane anywhere on it. Anyway, now he's wondering why his coach has a random picture of Robbie Keane from 10 years ago. Thank you so much for watching this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video if you liked it. Hit thumbs down if you thought it sucked. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up soon. And please be nice in the comments section. Nobody likes being told they suck, even if it's true. Oh, and sharing's caring.